I guess what are some other consequences you experienced from your using? Physical harm to other people, emotional, long-term, short-term consequences.
I failed a lot of classes because I felt like getting high was more important than staying in school. So that's a big consequence.
When I was drinking, I kind of messed up every single relationship I had during like that 4-month period of time where I was like drinking every single day. I just screwed over everyone in my life. Like, no one was as important as getting my alcohol and having a good time was. I had a party and I ended up having to call the cops, and my house was completely destroyed. There was, everything was broken, the tables, chairs, lights, there was holes in the walls, there was blood everywhere. And it was the one day my parents, left me home alone. So I had to pay for all that. It just got really bad.
Several times I've been in and out of juvenile correction places for quite a while. I'm about to have $7,000 worth of restitution after it all gets settled, but when I see those people that never want to talk to me again, that I loved, and I lost because of stuff that I did to them because I didn't care, that's the honest consequence that I think is harsh, sucks.
Legal consequences are extremely common. Things like DUI or DWI, having possession of a controlled substance, possession of paraphernalia. For some of these young people, it's even issues related to assault or other violent charges, because while they're under the influence of substances, they become violent.
The first time I got arrested was at a party. I got into a physical fight with someone, and they called the cops on me, but they couldn't put me in handcuffs because I was completely blacked out, and that's when I got my first illegal consumption.
All right, well, what was your motivation to use? What drove you to do it?
Well, I grew up with a family that did it 24/7. A lot of alcoholics in the family, a lot of weed smokers, and I was just used to it, so I thought there was nothing wrong with it since I just grew up with it.
I don't really remember the first time I drank or smoked. I just kind of did. But when I started using a lot, it was just something to cope with everything that was going on.
I come from a very abusive family. I ran away from home at a young age, and the people I found on the streets used, and so I started doing it, and as I started, I found it an escape as well. I just kind of got away from everything, didn't have to deal with stuff.
Young people in particular turn to substances as a form of self-medication, as they see it. In the long run, the substance use really just exacerbates these problems. So things like depression, anxiety, really just become worse.
Well, for me, it was just a lot of stuff going on with school, and it was just stress, and I just felt I couldn't handle my problems. I knew they weren't that bad, but I just thought I wasn't strong enough to be able to keep myself up. So I needed something to make me feel better.
I didn't want to have to think about the problems at home or the stuff that I had to go through. And also I found that whenever I was high and I came home or on drugs or drinking, whenever I came home I could always deal with problems at home because I wouldn't care. So there was never any arguing back or nothing. It was just okay, whatever, and I'd just go and isolate in my room.
I think probably the biggest overall issue is just I feel like we don't really know how to talk to each other. If we all went to a party and strictly said no alcohol, I think it would be really awkward for everyone, and we wouldn't know what to talk about, we wouldn't know what to do.
Everybody goes through their own things, especially teenagers are really hard, so a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff. They kind of, medicate themselves.
A lot of people don't want to admit their weaknesses and stuff, and don't want to admit they're depressed or something like that, so they just do drugs and other things to mask that and just think, so everyone thinks that they're fine and they're okay and perfect, and really they're not.
Does drinking or using these drugs, help solve these problems?
I guess if there was no results to it and it didn't help you or it didn't help in that short term in any way, then why would people do it? I think it makes you feel better. But your problems got worse when you came off it.
I don't think it helps at all with anything. I think like you always think it's gonna help, and then, well, usually for me, like when I would drink, it would help while I was drinking for like 10 minutes, and then I'd get too drunk, and then I'd say some stupid stuff, and I'd be like, that girl. So like the next day, it was like, yeah, I talked a lot, but I'd be like that really drunk girl who like everyone made fun of and everything, so it like made a lot of things worse.
Use of alcohol and other drugs can lead some people to develop an addiction. Most people think they're not going to get addicted.
But truthfully, there's no way you can know that. Alcoholics and addicts find out the hard way. Once they start, it becomes very difficult to quit, no matter how much willpower they have.
Kind of like being in slavery. It wasn't an option. It was a yes, regardless of what I had to do to get it. You know, I used to rob houses, break into cars.
Christmas Eve, I wasn't with my family. I was a runaway at the time. I had a couple warrants out for my arrest. I was out stealing money so that I could get high the next day. And you don't think about any of that, like who am I hurting, what am I doing? Because all you care about is how am I gonna get high, like I need to get high.